I don't know how to work this YouTube shit. Every week I need Steph, and I rely on Steph to get me to see these comments. Now, Steph, I am
Yes.
on YouTube, and I want the people to see us kind of doing this. I'm on YouTube. Where do I go?
Okay,
Walk me through it.
so do you see where it says, do you see the screen where it says live chat?
On
Right
YouTube?
now it's, yes, on YouTube. Are you on our videos?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you see our chat where it says live chat?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you got the first
Just
part
click right
down.
there. Got it. You know what?
Yes.
I'm here. I'm
Look at
here. I don't need you no
you.
more. I don't even need you no more. We're here. We live. We
Wow.
live, baby. What's going
Just threw
on?
me away as soon as you got it. I see the deal. I see what's going on here.
How y'all doing? Alex and Steph, y'all good?
Talking to us for the
Yeah,
peeps,
I'm
the fam.
hold on. When I was recording just now on GarageBand, like it. No, I didn't pick you up. I picked you guys' vocals up really, really, really low. I don't know why
Okay.
I did that, but it's
Don't
really
worry
low,
about
so
it.
it shouldn't be an issue. Yeah.
We all good. Let's just talk. Fuck the garage band. Let's talk to the people. The people came to see us to talk about us live. So thank you, whoever was waiting. We're sorry. It's a lot of technical shit going on. Steph is frozen on my screen. I don't know if she's frozen on your screen.
She's also
Alex.
frozen on my screen. Yes, but what's up, man? We here.
Yeah, we still here. You know, we can hold it
Yes,
down.
sir.
We got a lot to talk about today. I don't know if anybody listened to our last episode, but the last episode was 100 episodes down. So
Yes,
we
sir.
took the time to celebrate us. Was it a little bit egotistical to just talk about us, eh?
Not at all. Not at all.
Is that a bad thing to just take an entire episode when the world is stopped, when we're dealing with some pretty serious issues, we only focus on us? How you feel?
I mean, more the reason to just pay attention to your milestones and, you know, the blessings you do have, right? So
okay.
If somebody tells me that's a milestone, I guess I'll appreciate it. Something good out of the bad, right?
No, for sure. Absolutely. Well, the good thing about having 100 episodes during a time where there's a lot of information. Hey, Steph, you're back. Good to see you.
Yeah.
I'm back.
But yes, the good thing about having 100 episodes and just going down memory lane and talking about the journey is that we were able to kind of backlog some of the main events, important topics that we really would have spoken about if it was just another episode. So this week, the quarantine and chill edition of the Need to Know podcast, we're going to bring you guys along for the podcast. This would have been our Wednesday, Thursday podcast, and we wanted to have it with you guys. We also have a lot of amazing people who's going to contribute to the conversation, which may make this episode even better if it was just the three of us, because I kind of like who we got today. I kind of like who we got. If you've seen the flyer, you know what we're about to go down the rabbit hole in. The social, let's start there. The social injustices, rest in peace to George Floyd. You know, it was the start of the riots and stuff, people kind of defending his honor, his legacy. So we do not want to be insensitive and not mention it at the top of the show. We are going to talk about it in depth. We also have people who are protesting on the front lines in the chat. They're going to talk about us. They're going to talk about their experiences, what they've seen, the city that they're in. So we do have a dedicated segment to that. It's just a little bit later on the show. So make sure you guys stick around for that, right? Now.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Ready to go.
We are all podcasters. And Alex and myself, you know, Steph, she has superhuman power. So she does a whole bunch of shit. But Alex and I pretty much dedicate our lives and our time to podcasting. Correct?
That is correct, yeah.
This past, let's say over the last 2 weeks, there was a deal announced by Joe Rogan, number one podcast pretty much in the world. We didn't get a chance to talk about it on episode 100, so we wanted to talk about it today. And we also have a few friends who are familiar with podcasts, who have their own podcast or have had their own podcast, or just take over our shit occasionally.
Which is okay. I mean, it's all right.
It's not okay because he's always here when I'm not here. So that's why it's not okay.
Y'all beefing. That's what they saying. The streets are saying y'all beefing. I don't know.
Well, at least now we know facts. And at least now we know that you guys aren't the same person, because people claim they've never seen you guys in the same room before.
We could be cousins.
Very good points.
We could be cousins.
The rumors are exposed.
Steph, I will be honest, on my end, and I don't know how the people see it, but you are kind of choppy.
Am I
You're
glitchy?
frozen and you're yes.
Yeah, you're a
Oh.
bit
Very
glitchy.
choppy.
Yeah,
All
I think
right, go
somebody
ahead.
said.
You guys go
Somebody
ahead
said
without
Steph
me. I'm gonna
posing.
figure this out.
Nah, do your thing,
All right.
Steph. Do your thing. Figure it out.
You guys
But
go
yeah,
ahead.
Steph posing.
as always, we have Shavina here, our producer. She's gonna help us out.
Yeah.
She's gonna, make these transitions. But yeah, let's talk about podcasts. Let's talk about what $100 million a year for a podcaster means to us, what it means to other podcasters, how it affects not only the person, the podcaster, but the industry of podcasting. I know I have a lot of thoughts. Working with Joe, we see this. I've been a part of an exclusive deal with Spotify, so I kind of, I'm like a mole in a sense. I know I see things a little bit different, but I do want to hear what this means for other podcasters, and including yourself, Alex, because you and I haven't really spoke about it. But Shiv, if you could bring in our first two guests, we got the lovely, the amazing, the host of the Shit I'm 30 podcast, Carla. And we also got I don't really like this nigga. Wait, I don't like him too much.
No,
but
that's
he's
what
here.
the streets is saying.
We got Devon Terrell in the building. What up, bro?
What's good? I heard that comment. You don't like me, but I know deep down you love me, and that's what niggas that love you say. So it's all good.
You gotta go.
Hey, Carla, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Carla,
we're doing all right.
Can we just like quickly praise the aesthetics here?
Oh yes.
Thank you.
Ooh, I mean, both of y'all.
I feel like she about to teach mad stuff about real estate. I feel like you about to put me on a mad stuff.
We about to get a class.
The whole podcasting class. This is where I teach out of.
Oh, see,
I love it.
I love it. It works. I feel it.
This is where I teach out of.
Well, let's start with this. I'm pretty sure nobody has anything to do. So we're all just sitting home looking at our phones, and you see a lot of news. Joe Rogan, you see the deal, you see the numbers. We've all have done podcasts. Devon, I know you've had a podcast and you're slowly taking over our podcast. And Carla, I've seen your podcast all over my feed throughout this whole quarantine. Like, you really stepped it up, and you've been working like double time. You've been going crazy. So what has the Joe Rogan deal meant to you guys? Like, when you first heard it, what did it say to you? Let's start with Carla.
It's not anything crazy or out of the ordinary for me. I've been studying podcasts for so long now that I've known for at least for myself the past 3 years how much money is in podcasting and how much potential it has and where it's going. I don't think a lot of people realized that it was going to happen until now. Something big has to happen. So we're seeing a lot of millions of dollars going into ads, but from the outside looking in, most people don't know because they're consumers. They're entertained by us being personalities, but I'm behind the scenes a lot with the production of podcasts and seeing how much money there is. So who Joe Rogan is in the podcasting world, he is, the god of podcasts. He's been doing this for 11 plus years. Like, without this Spotify deal, he was already making $30 million a year off of his podcast alone.
Yeah.
Joe Rogan's name alone was a lot of money. So he is not the norm. But also it helps us as podcasters show the world, hey, this is real. And it's not just a trend. It's not just like the new thing that we're doing. Radio is shifting. Media is shifting. All of this is shifting. So we need to recognize it. And they recognize Joe Rogan for it. So now it's like, we're behind it. Although we might be smaller, just know the power of podcasting is there. It's so powerful.
Yeah.
Sure.
I agree.
Dev, what about you, bro? But so, real quick, Dev. Because you're into like streaming, like that's your thing.
Yeah,
you are the tech guy. We all know you're an amazing artist. But you keep your ears to like the tech streets, and you know how the streaming works. Like, you know how to work the system.
Right.
So when you first heard it, like what were your thoughts?
I think this was the most dangerous move ever in podcast. And the reason why I think it's the most dangerous is because within any industry that is growing, with any person that has a business, you are trying to understand your value. Like, that's the most important thing, to understand your value so you can leverage that value. Like, that's like how industries innovate themselves. So for me, it's like when Joe Rogan, which we all know in the podcasting industry is, like you said, the god of podcasting. We know this is the top. We all know the bottom is zero, but now we know what the top is. Now we know what the top looks like, and now we know what the top is, the value of the top. So if you're telling me the top of podcasting is worth $100 million for X amount of streams, listeners, influence, engagement, now we all know our worth, and now we can approach things a lot stronger. So for me, this is the most powerful move in podcasting to me personally, because now we can all understand value of ourselves. So this whole thing, when he finally did that, I was like, it's over. When I look at Joe, Joe's, I know Joe jumping for joy, of course, because he's saying to himself, "Oh, here's the top, and now I can go to every other meeting and say, well, here's the top. I'm not that far off. This is the number. It's all I think this whole thing did was help us understand our value, and I think that's the most important thing in the world, to understand your value. So now that we understand our value, I think this whole thing is going to shift, and this whole thing is going to change. Everything.
It was about time. Like, why do you think it took so long? Because podcasting, it's not new. Like, I think the first podcast launched in like 2006 or something like that.
Right. But you know what? We never saw numbers. We never
discuss numbers.
We never discuss numbers. For you to tell me that, like, a podcast, and I hate to use Joe Budden podcast, but for you to tell me somebody like Joe Budden podcast can do 1 million listeners in a week, and I have a song that has 1 million streams, but those streams take maybe 3 months to get 1 million. Now I've always said, this makes no sense. I'm like, you guys should be being paid per stream, to be honest, one, but that's a whole nother conversation. And two, I feel like you guys should have more of a profile like us artists. Like, Need to Know should have a profile than your top 5 podcasts in the top 5. Like, y'all should be just like artists. I think book people, authors should have the same thing. Like, it's scary.
It's crazy.
But I'm excited for y'all, like, for having your podcast, all of y'all, Carla, everyone, because I think you're gonna start to see it. Like, Apple has to compete now.
Yeah.
Well, I want to say
everybody has to compete.
Everybody.
I'm sorry, Carla, continue.
Those streams were there. It's just, I think we're seeing it to us, our community now. White podcasting has a very, very white space since it started. So they knew the streams, they knew the value, they were making that money. Like, the money has been there. It was just there for the white people. So
you have a very good point.
So we are now learning about it and coming into it. And regardless of the fact that we're coming at it years later, we're going to make that money. And sometimes I think that where I come into play when it comes to podcasting is the streams are really important, but your influence sometimes is even more important. So you can have a podcast that is not top 1%, that is not making 1 million streams, but sometimes can make a shit ton of money because of the influence behind that person. So you get 5,000 downloads and 1,000 of those purchase from you. You're banking.
That's a big engagement.
So it's authentic. So some people just go out there and want to be a Joe Budden, and they want to be a Joe Rogan, or they want to be a sex pod, and they want to be like everybody else, or another Breakfast Club. And that's not how it works. You have to be authentic, and people will go towards that. And sometimes the streams are important, but they're not the most important to get to that where Joe Rogan is. Joe Rogan has Spotify behind them. You can have yourself behind yourself, and it can be your own business.
Yeah.
I'll be completely honest, Carla. You just allowed me to go to sleep better at night, because I never thought about it that way. Like, I'm one of those.
I've been telling you this for the past year.
Stream guy. Like, I am a numbers guy, Carla. That's focus who on I am. I focus on the numbers.
Numbers are great, but that's not what that shouldn't be what makes your dick hard. What makes your dick hard should be the fact that you look at your followers and they're fucking with you. The fact that you have a live stream right now and you're able to engage them. The fact that I can send over to almost 2,000 people an email that I have grown, and then they show up. That means more than just going on there and getting 100,000 streams of people that just want to hear you. I'm cool with you wanting to hear me, but I'm worried about my bank account and what value I'm adding to your life. So when you're adding value to other people, that check is going to come, honey.
Right. Because these are the people that are going to buy your merch, that are going to come to your show, that are going to pull up in the live on a podcast that they've never heard of before, you know?
Right.
And speaking of all of that and competitors and money, Amazon has entered the chat.
They have.
I know what that means.
Talk about it.
So for those who are not
are they
sure,
invested in like certain sort of podcasts, or like is it wide range?
Right now they have Audible, which is
that's
kind of close to it, but it's more so like audiobooks.
Books,
but they're meeting with talent agencies and producers to, as they say, dramatically expand their podcasting portfolio. So, you know, and I think that Spotify's $100 million deal is, like Devon said, like that spoke volumes to the industry on a whole.
Yeah, 100%. And honestly, like we're relatively new to this new podcast and stuff. People really don't discuss what they're making, and I get it. I get it. Everybody deals with things certain ways. They want you to know certain stuff, and again, who am I to know? But when you're a growing podcast, sometimes you need to know what's going on in the industry. All right, so-and-so is doing this. If we get to this place, maybe we can get that. It's good to hear deals, you know, even with all of that call her daddy stuff going on. Just, okay, these are the type of money they're shelling out.
That's the best drama ever.
Oh, it's great.
Oh my gosh, it's so good, but
It's
it
great.
brings so much stuff
It's
into
great.
perspective.
Yeah.
It brings when we see those deals, we also have to then talk about what it took to get there and what Joe Rogan does. No one pays attention to the fact that this man records for hours on end, puts content out every single day. Joe Budden is out there doing 2-3 hour episodes twice a week. Like for how long? How many years have they been doing this? So some podcasters think like, I'm gonna pop up a podcast and I don't have a podcast. Where's the money? No, bitch, that's not how it works. Slow down. You're not gonna become famous or rich overnight. You have to put in the work just like everybody else has put in the work. Even with Joe Budden having his name, how long did it take Joe to monetize his podcast?
Right.
It took a while.
Even with Joe being Joe.
It took a while. Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. I think for me, I'm at like a crossroad, right? I'm at a crossroad when I see a deal like this because Devon, I agree that there is some good to it that, hey, now we know, but then I think there was also a benefit to not knowing. You know what I'm saying? I think there was also a benefit of saying, hey, fuck 100 million. Let's do 500 million. You know, like if the numbers were still kind of skewed in that, not saying we're gonna get there, Carla, but
why not? You could.
But that's my argument. We didn't know before, but now it's like it's concrete. Joe Rogan has set the standard, and that could be a little bit scary. He was already making that.
So the $100 million is for 3 years, I believe. Right. So he was already making. Go ahead.
I heard it was each year. Are they saying it's the entirety of the 3 years is $100 million?
It's the contract.
Oh.
Yeah, I think that's the the totality. I think that's the totality of it.
Yeah, it's the totality of the contract. No.
Yeah.
He was already making without Spotify $30 million a year.
Wow.
It's a lot of money.
So it's like he had to. It's one of those things that is like he can do it for a little deal, and it makes certain things, but at the same time, he didn't give up his IP. He still owns Joe Rogan The Experience. Yeah. He still. There's so many things to this contract that people
explain what the IP is for the people in the love.
He still owns Joe Rogan The Experience. So that man will put out merch. He can put out alcohol. He can put all these things that if you have not followed Call Her Daddy's drama, it's ingenious seeing what happens behind these contracts, because what happens is we start these podcasts and there's so many talented people out there. So if you're on here, you're listening, you're thinking, I have that it thing, or my podcast is really popping. I get 10,000 downloads, 20,000 downloads an episode. Someone comes up to you and tells you, I'll take it. A Barstool's come on, we own your IP. You're fucked. You say yes to that, you don't own anymore. Anything. You don't own it. It doesn't matter if you started it. You don't own it.
We actually almost ran into a problem like that. When we first started trying to like distribute our podcast, we signed up to this hosting site. We didn't know because we're all trying to figure it out. And they took our IP and our RSS feed, and we had no idea.
Wait,
so like this is I want to say it was Anchor.
Anchor.
Oh my goodness! So I preach about this in my academy all the time.
Go to Anchor. Like I cannot subscribe to Anchor.
People don't understand what happens with Anchor, and I tell everyone everything that is free comes at a cost. Everything free comes at a cost, and the cost is your RSS feeds.
Absolutely.
So they're taking. So I guess in a TOS and stuff like that, they pretty much own and have the ability to take your catalog and sell it, because I always heard about Anchor doing deals and stuff like that. So they taking all your stuff and have the ability to sell it. Your intellectual.
Absolutely. Yes. You can't even access it. Listen to this. We were so fortunate and so blessed that I went to high school with somebody who worked in Anchor. We sent a complaint, right? We sent the complaint, did the formal thing, because that's the only way you can get in touch with them. They don't have a phone number. A girl that I went to high school with hit me like, yo, bro, I think you just sent a complaint to my job. I'm like, yo, please give me my shit back. Like, we were just like, it was crazy. It was crazy.
And I think Anchor is like, because they're like a hosting site, right? So they boom out your content to wherever you want to put it.
They're a media host.
They're a media host, but they also, like, if you want to go record at their offices, you can go do that at their studios for free. So they feel like, I guess because they provide so many services for podcasters, it's like, okay, I own you now. Your content is mine because I provide all of these services for you. For some people, that might be okay, but they don't. They're not.
They
upfront
tell
about
you that
it.
in a very small print
Subtle,
that you don't read.
Sounds like
your new podcast, you would understand.
Sounds like a record label to me.
But absolutely. And it sounds amazing when you're first starting and they're like, it's free, it's easy, it's user friendly.
I can get on Spotify.
I did a whole post and I preached this on my classes, to my students literally daily. I'm like, I know it sounds good. And it's the thing about it is that these other podcasts say it like, oh, go with Anchor, it's free, and they don't explain this on the back end. And I'm like, it makes it so hard for people that are with Anchor trying to switch over to a new media host, which there's one that I love, but just go with someone where you pay that $15 a month, bro.
Yeah,
it's easy. It's worth it.
I just want to shout out some people in the chat really quick. Just say hi to people.
Please.
What up, Ariana? What up, Imani? What up, Evan? Stan, Steffi.
My little gang's here.
Scarlett, I'm sorry that you think that we're boring. You can head out at any point.
Fuck you, Scarlett.
What up, Athena? What up, Vincent? Shout out to y'all. What up, Daisy? Thank y'all for rocking with us. Carlos gang is in here. All right?
The gang is
in
here.
Shout out to the Shit I'm 30 podcast. Shout out to the Shit I'm 30
Big
podcast.
shout out to that, man.
Thanks for rocking with us. But go ahead, say.
Now, real quick, I just wanted to talk to Dev about podcasting, because he did have a podcast at some point, and then he didn't have a podcast. So does a deal like this make you want to get back into the media lane? Does it make you want to, because now you see like how lucrative it could be. This is life-changing money. Again, none of us are Joe Rogan. Like Carla said, he's been doing this for 11, almost a decade and a half. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not saying, hey, Dev's going to get into it and he's going to get 100 million. Now, if you do, I would hope we all benefited and got like something from it.
Well, come on.
Word. Has a deal like this inspired you to be like, yo, I should get back into podcasting?
Yeah. And, the only reason is because first of all, I want to preface it with saying it's just not about the money. Of course, I think a lot of people that have successful podcasts love to podcast. Like that's, for one, first and foremost. First of all, we're all strange people because we listen to podcasts. First of all, like when you tell people,
you got to be strange to listen to podcasts.
Yeah, they're like people. It's so foreign still to some people. So for me, I love podcasting. Of course, I would love to be a part of a podcast or talk on a podcast. And I think that this deal, I'd be a liar if I said it didn't make me go, ooh, you know what I mean? But at the same time,
because you have a following, bro. You have like, I think we take for granted because we've gotten so close with Devon. Like, you have millions of people that support you, hundreds of thousands. Like, it's insane.
We see them at your shows.
You don't just have like a kind of small support group, or starting out support group. You have an established support group. So something like this probably would be a little bit easier to convert compared to somebody who just wakes up and says, you know what, I want to pick up a mic.
Of course. But to the point that Carla made, it's like this. It's like I pay very close attention to my engagement rate, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like I have a certain niche of fans that are like the diehards, and then I have the fans that are just there. They just want to hear music, shut up about everything else. So to me, it's like when it comes to, okay, guys, I'm going to feed you this new type of content, and some of you are going to fuck with it, some of you aren't. For me, it's all about doing it right. Because at the end of the day, I can say, well, this is going to be this podcast that has this other name and yada, yada. But at the end of the day, you still see this me. They know me. Right, so it's like, if I do ever or cross back over into making my own podcast, which I've, of course, went through 1,000 ideas of like, all right, how do I want to do this? That's the creative part of you that comes in that fights. It's like, if I do this, you want to do it correctly, and I want it to be organic, and I want it to be genuine, and I don't want to be a copy of all the oversaturations of podcasts that we see right now. So that's where I stand on it. It's just like I want something that's genuine and that is different. That's really what I'm trying to.
Yeah.
Always,
I respect
always.
that.
So I have a quick question for you guys, because I know that we are trying to stay as concise as possible, but I also want to know for the people in the chat who maybe some of y'all want to start, some people saying podcasting is a lifestyle. For some of you guys that want to start a podcast, what would be like real quick advice for people who are like, you know what, this deal is really lucrative, like I might want to hop in? What are some like disillusionment we can shed and some practical actionable items that we can add for the good people here?
The ones that want to start a podcast?
Yeah.
So basically, it's just be yourself. I tell everyone, don't try to be anybody else. Be authentic. And there's something Navon said that I think that I'll be honest and be like, I don't believe that. And I don't believe podcasting is oversaturated. We just, I believe, hit 1 million podcasts, but there's still not even 1 million active podcasts, and there's over 16 million active YouTube channels. We're not oversaturated.
That nigga, Carla. Let him know he's wrong. Let that nigga.
It just seems like it's oversaturated. You have to think about that. You're probably in the entertainment business, so you're seeing a lot more happen in the entertainment business, and you're seeing big names opening podcasts. But you also see the fact that these big names start podcasts and they're not consistent with it. Therefore, they don't have a following within the podcast industry. So we're now oversaturated. You do have to be authentic and not try to be like anybody else. And it is work. You're going to put in work behind it. I have now launched over 200 podcasts.
Congratulations. That's dope. That's dope. That's dope.
And not all of them are active. A lot of them aren't, but it's because of consistency. So people think that I'm launching a podcast and it's going to go on. So going back to what I said earlier, you have to love what you're doing. You have to love the content you're putting behind it. And you can be talking about the exact same thing someone else is speaking of, but because of your background, your life experience, and who you are and your personality, it'll make a completely different podcast.
Gold.
So
that was gold.
Exactly.
If you do it because you want to do it, not because anybody else is doing it.
Amen. That's so good.
I agree. I hear you. And honestly, I see both sides of the fence. I see where Dev is coming from, and I also see where Carla's coming from. Like it's two valid points. Yeah. Again, like Steph said, we do want to keep it concise. So Carla, I need you to stick around. Okay.
I'll come back.
But we're gonna have a real brief conversation.
I'm gonna go hang out with them in the chat real quick.
And
because I'm gonna go talk to them in the chat.
We want to get into some relationship stuff because when you were on the podcast,
I know
you were single at that time. You were single at that time.
I was going through my 3-week hoe phase.
Yeah, you were single at the time, but now I know things have changed. So I do want to have a conversation with you about, you know, this relationship topic that came up amongst me, Alex, and Steph. So just stick around for a few minutes. Yes. And we'll bring you right back. All right.
All right.
And shout out to your alumni in the chat right now.
They're going hard.
Oh man, so good.
Okay, Shiv muted me, and now we got Devon.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
D, do you want me to leave, bro? Like, I can come back. I don't know if, like,
Yo,
you know,
y'all
can do y'all thing.
See, say, you starting.
What do you do? First of all, you know, it's been like this before. So I
mean,
so we might.
You know what's crazy? I didn't even realize Savon left.
I did not feel that. I didn't feel that either.
This feels so regular to me.
It feels so
Savon, bring your ass back.
You better relax. You better relax.
He got nervous.
I'm sorry. Relax. How many episodes were you at out of the 100? About 46%.
43.
That's okay.
About 43.
Okay.
Yeah, you know.
Devon made up for the rest. You know.
You already. You know the vibe.
So D, you came out with this project.
Yes, sir.
Throughout the quarantine, I want to say thank you. First off, I listen to it every single day.
I appreciate it.
The project is amazing. The lyrics, the concept is super creative. It's inspired a segment that we want to talk about because your lyrics are so deep, bro. It gets me tight when I get in my feelings.
Very relatable.
To somebody I know in real life, bro.
Yeah,
like it's crazy. But anyway, so thank you for the music that you put out. And I just want to hear a little bit about the inspiration, and then also you've inspired us to kind of want to talk about music and lyrics that have been the soundtrack to our lives.
Right.
So talk about your project and how this came about. And also answer the question of what is your current, like today, the lyrics, the song that describes the mood that you're in.
Got you. So I released a project called Social Distancing Together. It was a small EP where basically each song was called Week 1, Week 2, Week 3, Week 4. Reason being is because I was taking you through the motions of me first saying what a lot of us were thinking is, yo, maybe I could just chill with that one person. I mean, we're inside. Let me get to know her in my situation. And
let's vibe.
Right. Let's vibe. And I can hold, you know, and basically write about the experience. So I did it over the course of 4 weeks. And just every week I told you what was going on, the progress of the relationship and where we stood and etc. And that's where I came up with the whole thing, Social Distancing Together, which was Week 1, Week 2, Week 3, Week 4. Even the artwork, I wanted it to be really simple. I wanted you to see what was happening. It was, you know what I mean? It was very, I think it was very I just want to do something really genuine to the time because I'm an artist, so I need to exercise. That was one of the best ways to do it. Yeah.
Did you make the music week by week?
Yeah. I love storytelling, especially projects. Like I love projects that genuinely actually does tell a story. You know what I mean? Like that's dope to me. Yeah.
Yeah. You can follow it.
Which real quick before I share, me, Alex, and Steph share the lyrics that kind of explain our lives. Which song do you relate to the most off of your project? Week 1, week 2, week 3, or week 4? Because personally, I am torn between week 3 and week 4.
Interesting.
I'm torn between week 3 and week 4.
He on the pain side. He on the emotional.
Like yeah. I'm in my feelings.
I could only assume that it got worse as the weeks went on.
Yes, it did. It got tragic. Like
progressively.
Now we getting aggressive. Yeah.
But yeah, so talk about the one that you relate to most, and then Alex, I would like to hear the song that describes you most.
So for me, I think week 2. Because I am an introvert, so that vibe, like talking about Uber Eats and talking about, cooking inside and doing all this activities inside, like going to literally that I was going to the fucking grocery store. Like that was such a real thing to the time. Like, and I just really enjoyed that. I enjoyed that one probably the most because it was the most like realistic, and I don't really make too much happy music. So to me, that was like the happiest I've ever even.
You're a happy guy.
Yeah, it was a little happy, fun bag, and I never really get into it.
And don't start now.
No. Week 3, week 4. You saw that.
We need the bleeding
That will get
hearts.
you in your feelings, bro. I think I was drinking Patron, staring at a mirror in candle-lit room, just listening on repeat.
That took a real dark turn.
I saw your tweet.
That's a vibe, yo.
Something. There's a few times I've been wanting to hit Steph and Alice, be like, yo, check on this
Check
nigga.
on your strong friends.
Listen.
Tweeting crazy shit.
He be tweeting crazy shit. No. If you're in his close friend story,
It's scary. Hey, yo, y'all exposing me. Chill.
Sometimes when you get that notification for Save On, be like, close, and be like, oh, what's this? Like, what you doing?
Like approach with caution.
The explosion is crazy. But Alex, what's going on? You're the music guy. Talk about something that's like the soundtrack to your life right now, bro.
Recently I've been bumping a lot of oldies, a lot of New York oldies, a lot of X, a lot of Nori, and I've been listening to this one song by Nori called "I Love." Yeah, Nori's a queen stand up. I know. I've been listening to the song called "I Love My Life" because I truly, truly, truly do love my life. And he has this bar, I think on the second verse, where he references to like gun violence, and I really, really relate to it because in light of everything that's going on with people getting shot from police officers and everybody else and all this bullshit, he had a line in there. He said, had to learn how to slap box instead of a gat. And I'm like, you know what? That's really how we would kind of settle things back in the day, bro. If we had an issue with somebody that, maybe words couldn't really get solved with, we should just slap them up a little bit.
That long fact.
Just shoot the fair with your hands, not the guns, with your hands.
Respectfully, respectfully. But, and then a lot of these cats that didn't have that experience to do it, feel like they had to resort to, I got to go shoot you, dog. I got to take your life. So I don't know. I've just really been listening to that song a lot for the past weekend. It's really been referencing with me. Like, they don't live in slapbox no more. They just get gats. Not that I condone violence, but, when sometimes conversations don't work, it's only but one thing to do.
I'm here for that. I see where your mind is at. I definitely see where you're taking us. Real quick before I go, I want to see the chat. If you're in the chat, please let us know the song that you're listening to that describes you, how you're feeling. It could be anything. It doesn't have to be specifically to quarantine. You could be ready to go loot some shit and let me hear the soundtrack that makes you want to loot. If you're feeling heartbroken, I wasn't even heartbroken, but I felt like that early on in the quarantine. But there was a lot of things. Right now, I'm definitely not. I'm all for that.
Feeling good.
Right. All right, I'm over that situation.
All right,
I'm here now. Sure. I'm here. I'm back.
I feel like there's a part in Grievance that gives you like a fake hope. I feel like that's where you are right now. It's like there's a part in Grieving. I think it's called Denial. I don't know.
Oh damn.
Go ahead, King. Let me not step on your sunshine. Go ahead.
I don't know if it's all that. But I listen to music in the morning for whatever reason. I just boom, shuffle. Let's go. And there's been a lot of people DMing me, reaching out, just trying to talk, business, life. Maybe they see the things that Devon is alluding to, me being depressed, looking crazy. Like, just people are concerned. Right. So there was a song. I feel bad having this song in my catalog, but there was a Justin Bieber song that came out when like 2013.
You never cease to amaze us, yo. Never.
You never cease to amaze me, dog.
I wouldn't even be surprised if you mentioned the Spice Girls or something.
Come on.
Word. Come on.
He's drinking out of a martini. He's drinking white wine, y'all, out of a martini glass.
That's class. Okay. Chill. That's class. Chill.
Who's your favorite Spice Girl? This tell you a lot about a nigga.
I didn't have one, Devon.
You know I did not. You thought about it and said, nah.
Maybe Powerpuff Girl, but not Spice.
All right. See, now I'm judging you. All right, because the Spice Girls were real.
Let's reach in the chat real quick. Say before you get in your bag, your sad bag. Athena's tight because she's not in your close friends list, so you gotta have to add her in that.
Damn. Add her in there. She deserves that.
And then Rome Diddy said there's a super underrated song with Busta DMX and J. Cole, While We Die. Check that out. Iman says,
that's tough.
Good Girl. You know about that one? Good Girl by Kiana Lead.
Yeah.
Gilton, J. Cole,
that's
Long.
my baby.
You speaking to Savon's heart right now.
I love Kiana.
Yeah.
Our project
Kiana.
Ariana said Diddy Coming Home, DJ Truth and Jay. He's fucking with week 2. King Free, Bear With Me, Tiana Taylor, that's a good one. Matthew, I listen to Lift Off on loop. Give Me the Loot is my go-to song at the moment.
Give me the loot.
I see what you did there.
All right.
I see what you did there. Okay.
We got Fragile by Shanice. Shanice said Fragile. Steffi Kiss said Stronger. Kanye, no, better, faster, stronger. Facts.
I like that.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Okay.
And then Ariana's rocking with you. Ariana's rocking with you, Savon. She said, name one bad Justin Bieber album.
That's a fact. And she's completely right. But I'm going to take us back.
Take us back.
I think Believe was the name of the album. It's very old. And it's the weirdest song. But anyway, there's a lyric, right? There's a lyrics in the beginning of the song that says, hey, what's the situation? I'm just trying to make a little conversation. Mm-hmm. Why do you have the hesitation? Tell me what your name is and all your information. Ooh. Now,
this is
I just want to get to know y'all. I just want to get to know y'all. I just be wanting to get to know you.
Savon.
I just want to know you.
Savon, you are giving it up nasty right now. Please repeat the lyrics for the people on. Hey, for everybody on live, I want y'all to pay attention to the lyrics Savon is about to render. Savon, go ahead and render what you just told me. Say them again. Go ahead and render them again. I'm gonna sit back.
Hello. What's the situation? Now, I don't know your situation, right? So that's a really good starting point in the conversation. Now, what's the situation? I'm just trying to make a little conversation. Why the hesitation? Like, why are you leaving me on scene? I thought I was a good guy. Like, why do you have me on scene? I understand what Justin is taking us, right? Tell me what your name is and all your information.
Like credit card information, blood type.
Give me that. I'm broke. I'll take that. Or you could just give me your name,
like
where you want to go.
Social security. What we doing here?
Look, don't judge me. Those lyrics resonated with me. Mm-hmm. Just me.
Okay.
Do you want to give us a why, a little background?
No.
Because that would be incriminating.
Not at all. It's nothing to incriminate. I just think those lyrics it's a great way, fellas, ladies, if you want to like just have a conversation, I think that's the appropriate way to do it. Hey, what's the situation? How you doing? I just want to have a conversation. I don't want anything else. I just want to have a conversation.
That's a conversation. That's it.
You asked for a lot up front and you don't even know the name yet.
You asked for her social security number.
For a whole lot.
Where she lives and who her uncle is in the same sentence. I mean,
he could have said hello and just talked.
Or waited for her to say hello back. So okay, in my head,
why does it gotta be a her?
But hold up, or he or a person. But I know that you happen to be attracted to women. Savon, if I know you,
I'm attracted to information. So sometimes I just want to talk about, hey, you know how, like, yeah, that's it. But how do you get a hairline? I'm trying to get my shit back.
I visualize you saying this shit as the woman's like running away from you.
As the woman's running away from you.
Yeah, like she's trying to get away, and you like, yo, what's wrong? Yo, what's the conversation? Like,
what's the situation?
What's the
hesitation? Like, why you hesitate? Like, let's go.
Y'all agree.
Oh my gosh.
But that's me.
You. That's your life, and you know,
and you gotta live it.
Yep.
Thank you.
What's up, girl? What you got?
So y'all know me. Y'all know I always be in my relationship bag. I'm not too different from Savon. I can't be hypocritical here. So y'all know the great Jay-Z. The great prophet Jay-Z. I'm sure y'all have heard of him. We going back to Dear Summer. We going back to Dear Summer. Y'all ready for this one?
Okay.
Like
Okay.
Let's do it.
I'm always, I'll just let the lyrics speak. To my beloved, think we need some time away. They say if you love it, you should let it out its cage and fuck it. If it comes back, you know it's there to stay.
That was the real.
Mm.
We know that
I
one.
drink now. I gotta drink now. Shit me.
Oh, he's drinking out the bottle. I was trying to hide the bottle, nigga. Damn.
Shit, man.
Damn, Alex. I know. I'm not.
That's what it did to me, though. You know.
I feel that.
I feel you.
Yo, Alex, you remind me of the niggas on the corner, the old men sitting out in front of the corner store, just like talking and just yo.
It's in the
Like, yo, don't I know your mama? Don't I know your mama? Don't your mama live on Fulton?
You
I know your mama live on Fulton.
Damn, she raised the queen. You looking good, girl. Tell your mama I say hi.
Tell your mama I said what's up. Got a little discount for her at the liquor store.
Tell her she remembers Simmons. Tell her Simmons say what up.
Steph, it sounds like something kind of triggered those lyrics.
Oh, you know, always.
And Dev, before we let you get up out of here, bro, I do want to say thank you for spending this moment of time with us.
We love you, Dev.
Love y'all too.
We definitely got to do it again for
Of
sure.
course.
If it's just a regular episode, I don't know your schedule.
I am
but-
here. You hear me? Everything. My day starts at 9:00. Stock market, phone calls, mute. And that's it.
No, you talking stock market? Yes, sir.
That's another conversation.
I do
We'll
want to
have
be
that one
honest
day.
with you.
We'll have that one
I'll
day.
be honest because we did have these conversations at some point privately, but I do want to see you get back in the podcast game, bro. You're super talented. You have a lot to say. You know how to articulate yourself. People know you come from a good place. So,
Right.
you know, you and Carly, y'all had y'all opinions on oversaturation or not. But regardless of if you think it is oversaturated, you belong in the space. So I would love to see you, you know, and even if you want to just chop it up with us, whatever, like we got to figure that out because you got to have a weekly, like I got to hear you, bro.
I would, you know, to be honest,
He's not the only one.
To not take up so much of your time, I really fucking am working. Like I really am looking like on where do I belong within this space. And let me say this. I bring Carla to the debate. How many niggas that can be debatable?
I like
All
that.
right, let me say something. I'm not an idiot. And this is something I like in a lot of human beings. When it comes to debating and stuff like that, I like that because at the end of the day, I'm not an idiot. Like I will not tell her something about the industry that she is 24/7 in. You understand what I'm saying?
So for sure.
And that's what she's seeing. Cool. That's information for me, duly noted. So I respect.
Right.
You know what I mean? I like that. I like the type of shit. I want other people to see that not everything has to be pitting each other against each other. It's just
absolutely.
we are talking and I'm learning. You understand what I'm saying? And I hope that when I speak, that other people are hearing other perspectives. So I would love to have a podcast, bro. I would love to just be a part of something where I could just like exercise that part of my brain when I'm reading all the time and I'm taking in so much information personally. And I feel like I have so much information to give. If y'all don't know, I have my tutorial stuff on Help Me Devon, which is booming. That shit is growing on that side. But I would love to be in a podcast space. I cannot stress this. So I think y'all know this already.
For sure.
You have to. You got too much to say.
We'll talk. Whatever is whatever. And I love you guys. And I just appreciate anytime you guys let me on and just
love you, Z.
For sure, bro. We got to bring you and Carla back for an episode. So let's try to figure that out. Alex and Steph will set that up. And hopefully we can get the two of y'all on an episode and we can really just
heavy hitters.
Chop it up.
Heavy hitters.
Absolutely.
Sure.
I'll be in the comments. It's all good.
I love it.
Thank you.
Shout out to y'all. I'm very proud of y'all. I just want to say to 100 episodes, that's really a big fucking deal. A lot of people don't make it that far. So I just want to say congratulations and y'all doing the right thing. I don't need to tell y'all that.
Thank you.
I appreciate you guys.
Though.
Y'all helping us through this whole quarantine, through all this stuff. Y'all helping a lot of people. Y'all probably don't know that, but y'all really are. People like me that need conversation and friendship. I get that through to y'all. So thank y'all again. For real.
Love you, D.
Means a lot, bro.
I got to pull
bro.
my nigga. Yo, thank you, bro. Stay safe. And we'll talk soon. We'll kick it later.
All right, y'all. All right.
Later.
Love, man.
Oh,
now,
man.
off
That's
of
our
Steph's
guy,
lyrics,
man.
No, that is our guy.
Know
That's
what
our
it
guy.
is.
I love you, man.
Unofficial-
It's always a good time
unofficial
when he's
host
not
right
trying to take my position on the podcast.
This time.
Right? But nah, Steph, your lyrics kind of inspired us to have a conversation. And we want to bring Carla back. And we also want to introduce Bree, who is going to join the conversation. And Steph, you can probably explain this way better than I can. So
for sure. So again, just to go over the lyrics, to my beloved, think we need some time away. They say if you love it, You should let it out its cage and fuck it. If it comes back, you know it's there to stay. Shout out to Bree. Hey Bree.
Hey Bree.
Welcome back, Carla. So yeah.
Hey Bree.
These the lyrics kind of came to me after I had this conversation with my homegirl. She wants to move to LA. She was talking to her boyfriend. Her boyfriend did not want to move to LA with her. She was kind of hurt about that. You know, she decided that's where she wanted to go to find herself, everything like that. Her boyfriend then comes to her and says, I want to go to Miami. So the first thing in her head, she said her defenses went way up. She said, you know, wow, you didn't want to go to LA with me, but you want to go to Miami. What's in Miami? Miami bitches, da da da. But then she said something in her was just like, all right, let me be open and listen. So she started listening. And from what he said, you know, Miami will be to him what LA is going to be for her. This part of like finding yourself, et cetera, et cetera. And so it made me think like there's a part of us culturally, socially, whatever, historically in relationships that attaches this bit of like entitlement to our significant other. I don't know if you guys agree or have your own thoughts about it. But you know, just like her sentiment, I find myself in there too in certain ways where it's like, you know, you just attach this like, well, you got to do what I want you to do, or why don't you like my idea, or who you hanging out with, or, you know, things like that, where it becomes like somebody that you love is like property or like ownership, you know, to you, like you're entitled to this person. And so I want to know what you guys think about that as far as relationships go, and feel free to bring up your own.
So who moved where? You're not going to. No, you're not going to leave me on a cliffhanger.
So
finish it off.
TBD.
Oh shit!
Hasn't happened
Please
yet.
keep me updated.
Happened.
Like
Yes.
I'm gonna need like I needed a post about it.
Right. Carla's like, so who went where
That's a
with
soap
whom?
opera right there.
I'm trying to figure it out. Yeah, have me like this.
So
But what you guys
entitlement in a
think about this?
relationship.
Entitlement in a relationship.
We've all been
Bree,
in
what's
a
up?
relationship at some point, or we are right, at some Yeah.
Yeah.
Bree, how you doing? What's going on?
I'm doing good. I'm a little nervous, so we're settling
No
in
need.
here.
No, I just wanted to
No
say
We're
hello.
need.
settling in here. Hello.
No, for sure. You know how double dutch, you gotta leap in. You gonna take
Yeah,
it.
yeah, we're getting there. We're
We
getting
gonna
there.
get you in there. We got you.
Yeah.
So,
But yeah, relationships and entitlement. I think it can be, and unfortunately, it's a little bit synonymous, right? You kind of feel like, hey, I'm entitled to dictate certain actions, certain decisions because we're in a relationship together. I'm currently not in a relationship, but I have dealt with some of those things.
I didn't know this.
Oh my god!
Okay.
news.
The bees. No. But now let's talk about entitlement. Steph, I think you opened a great conversation.
Yeah.
Carla,
Because even in the
Alex,
lyrics,
Steph,
right? It
I
says,
agree.
let it out
Okay.
its cage. Like when you think
know,
about a
it's-
cage, you think of like
Yeah.
holding somebody in something, like holding them there, like keeping them locked up, you know?
When you're in a relationship, it's a partnership. And I think sometimes we lose that aspect of it all. So sometimes we feel entitled to them, but then we have to take a step back and say, where are we going? Where are we going? And are we going in this together? There comes a time in a relationship where you're at a crossroads and you need to know whether one is going east and the other one is going west. And that's when you have to kind of like let yourselves go. Or can we make it work, both of us going one way? So that's why it's so important. I feel like in a relationship, and it took me a very long time to figure this out because I have had a lot of relationships and I have fucked them up a lot because everything was my way or the highway.
On the highway.
That's it.
I
And
remember you saying that.
yeah,
You
so there's a
were
lot of
really
highways.
firm on that before.
Yeah.
How are these highways treating you now?
You shut up.
I really appreciate you saying that, Carla. I really appreciate you saying that because I feel like a lot of women stick to that and they say, I am deserving. Like it is either my way or the highway, nigga. Like what you talking about?
And it's not. There comes to this point where you're both deciding to be submissive to each other. And I think that was a talk that was very popular, like maybe 6 months ago or sometime last year. It was like, submissive because of the whole Fantasia, right. So you have to be kind of submissive to each other. And this is also when it comes to a marriage. So I think that we put a lot of pressure on a relationship and dating before you're married, but you also need to make sure that you're both on the same track before you even decide to talk about marriage. So where do you see yourself going? Are we compatible? Are we equally yoked? Or are we just compatible when it comes to business? Are we only compatible when it comes to sex? Sometimes we're just attached because the sex is really good or because you go out to eat and go on vacations. Like I'm telling you, like I had relationships where it was just cool because we were on vacations all the time. I had some because they were just good sex. I had other ones because I felt secure and safe, like physically. Wow. So you have to have all of that into one relationship. And if you can't have all of it, sometimes you think that it's just not for you. But just look at the bigger picture. You're not entitled to anyone. If that person wants to be there, like the song does say, maybe you're letting out the cage a different relationship. Let it go, and something else will find you. It might not be that same bird that's going to find you, but it's going to be the right bird that's going to find you.
The
so
right
let it go.
I think it's really hard though. Like with like entitlement in a relationship, you just kind of feel that way. You invested so much, so you're like, I feel like we've said we're on this plan, so that's what we're going to do. But if someone wakes up tomorrow and chooses a different plan, there's literally absolutely nothing we can do.
Nothing.
And I think like for me and how I attempt to go about my relationships, is just let it to be as organic as possible. And every day people do what they want. Like some women will get upset, like my man goes out a lot, or he gets upset because she has, I don't know, maybe male friends. I don't know how everyone feels about that. But at the end of the day, you're going to do what you want. And if you are in your relationships doing what they want, at the end of it, you're going to resent them and no one's going to be happy.
You can't lose yourself.
Allowing, just allowing the space for your significant other to just be them while also loving them is really, really hard to do. And it's hard to try, but I try my hardest.
It's not hard.
Listen, it's not.
When you find that right person, it's not hard at all.
What you think, eh?
Right.
Talk to him, Carla.
I promise you it's not. I feel like we all out here have been told to ourselves, or people have told us, and our grandparents and our parents, it's so hard, it's so much work. But that's because our grandmas and my parents will stay behind getting cheated on all day long because they took care of the household, they paid the bills. But
that's how it's supposed to be, you know?
No, kiss my ass.
Absolutely.
But now these days,
I will tell you
absolutely not. We make our own money. We are equal at the end of the day, whether you guys want to make us equal or not. So we play our own roles, though. So we're equal, but play our own roles.
Play our own roles. That's a really strong one. Yeah. What was you gonna say?
Definitely important.
You were about to say something.
It's definitely important though, because like I've definitely lost myself in a relationship, and sometimes you really don't even like recognize yourself a little bit. You're sitting there, you're like, damn, I think it's my responsibility to make the other person happy. So I guess that means sacrifice my own happiness. It's a really weird like middle ground, because it's like you have to practice good duality. And naturally, like some people are naturally like really independent. That could be really difficult. You know, when you do things by yourself, you know, it's literally, I just like doing things a certain way. You know, that doesn't mean that I'm not taking your advice on things or I'm not listening to what you say. It's just that literally I like doing my own thing. But again, like when you're in a relationship, you feel like, yo, we're supposed to be like one. So it really, really like confuses us where we're just like, all right, so am I supposed to be myself or be both? Be myself or be both? But like Carla was saying earlier, you definitely have to choose yourself always, because the correct person is going to allow you to be yourself.
1,000%.
I think being yourself in alignment with the relationship.
Hell yeah. That person, that right person for you is going to love who you are and what you do. So when it comes to this podcasting space, like Savon, all of you guys, I haven't met you before. So hi, I don't know what you do. Gorgeous. When you're let's say for us in a public space, so we talk a lot about our lives and things like that. That's not for everybody. So for me before, it was a big problem in the relationship. I got into it and they're like, well, he didn't like it. The person that I'm with now loves it, adores it, wants me to do more, become bigger. So it's just like you have to find the person that's okay with it. Someone is there for you for that.
I think a lot of like important things were mentioned, Carla, that you said. I think a lot of people get into relationships they want to feel validated. They need someone. Like I can definitely attest to like, just don't do it. Like, don't get into a relationship if you feel like you're just tired of being lonely or you need somebody, because you're going to put so much stock in this other person being a source of your happiness that whenever they don't do something that makes you happy, you feel like you feel hurt. You know what I mean? And it's really not an issue. Like what they're doing is they're considering themselves, you know, not to say that, a relationship should be only about self, because it's like Carla said, you're entering into a partnership. But if I could say anything to anybody, it is do not go into a relationship off need. Be good with who you are, because you got to bring not 50% to the table. You have to bring 100%. You have to be a whole vessel and know another whole vessel. I got a quick question for you. And
should you expect anything in a relationship?
Expecting, that's a funny word, right? Like expecting is a funny word. Like I think expectations will kind of like land you in a bad way, because a lot of times expectations are unsaid. You know what I mean? I expect you to do this.
Look, Carla, mad as hell. Look. Keep going.
But I think standards are very different because standards are vocalized. It's like, hey, this is who I am. This is what I expect. This is my level of whatever. And this should be happening during dating. A lot of time people jump in bed together and they get so close, you know, spiritually and physically that they're just like, I don't actually know this person. You know, sex can expedite feelings in a relationship where there might be red flags.
There might be like energy.
Absolutely. And it can cloud your vision to really seeing like, is this person good for me? You know?
It's good for me. That's what I like. It's good for me. I don't know if the person is, but whatever we just did is good for me.
But it's what happened after. I'm sure, Savon, you can say plenty of times after you finished laying down with somebody, you felt like, it was cool for the nut. But afterwards, you're like, what was that for? Like, now the girl's calling you 24/7. Now you gotta block
or
the bitch.
What does it mean?
Now she want to hit your girl up. Like, it's just so much.
Oh my God.
It didn't feel you.
Yeah. No, for sure. That's definitely.
It's just like a momentarily gratification. So I think the word expectation, like I think we've put like a negative connotation behind it, but we have to have, I think standards and expectations are kind of the same thing. Vocalize them.
Sure.
You can't expect something that you didn't tell them what you wanted. So when I'm with this new person, which I really wanted to work and we're both trying really, really hard, and
I commend you on that. I commend you. Again, before you left, we spoke about you coming on the show and speaking about when you were single, right? And the way that your views is documented. That's the only reason why I bring it up. But to see you guys, you know, I follow you and the person you're with now, like, you know, I'm a fan of his work. I really enjoy his content. So I'm there. Like I'm aware of how it looks and what it is. So I commend you because I know you put work into that. No, for sure. Absolutely. And then even being a fan of his work, I've seen his mindset change. I just watched the recent Brilliant Idiots episode, and you guys were on there. Man. And it was like I was like, wait, again, I've met him in person, I've seen him, you know, I've worked closely near him. He may not even remember me, but again, I'm a fan. I have no problem saying that. Right. And even hearing his tone change, like
I get a lot of questions about men.
I don't know what the fuck you did.
She did some shit.
If I had $1 for every time I was asked, what did you do to change him? I'm telling you, fuck Joe Rogan's contract. I would be like, what's up?
But I think that's the thing, right? Like, do you think that you changed? Like, I don't think you could change a man. I think a man decides that he wants to change.
And he'll tell you that himself. He'll tell you that himself. We've talked about since we're friends beforehand, we've had tons of episodes and we record about this all the time. I didn't change him. He wanted this and he knew what he had to do. That man was already in there. Come on. Savon, drink to that.
Man. Yes, I got to drink that.
That man was already in there.
The man was already in there. He is a family-oriented person. If his content was a little wild, but if you really listen to what he always said, his parents have been married for like 1 billion years. He's in a family. He has 12 brothers and sisters. Oh, wow. Like he's an extremely religious man outside of him being a whore, you know, but he was always
outside of that.
Listen, we all got that one thorn in our side. We all got that one thorn in our side. Okay, listen. Right. The Lord said he ain't done with us yet. He's still working on us.
And he will always say it. Like
the journey.
His thing was like, he was like, after he would have sex with the girls, he would pray with them. And it was real. The first time after we had sex before, he prayed. It's real.
That's real.
He really would do it. It made no fucking sense, but for whatever reason.
He prayed with you?
Yes.
So you went, you was on your knees, and then you got on your knees again.
And then you got on your knees.
I'm sorry. It was the knees and knees.
No, but it's not exactly how it happened.
Was he raised in like the Catholic Church?
His father's a pastor.
Okay, but like in a Christian church, Catholic?
No, Christian,
like not like Pentecostal
Baptist,
to be exact.
Okay,
Pentecostal.
No, Pentecostal to be like
Pentecostal,
real hardcore.
I love Pentecostal. I just want to jump in the chat really quick.
But even but watch this. Even you, knowing that is such it's growth. It's a testament to you trying to learn his world and he's trying to go into your world. Like he's allowing you into his world. Like it's beautiful. So I gotta commend you on that. Real quick bore we wrap this conversation up.
Hold on. I just want to jump in the chat real quick because everybody, Nobody.
Oh, do the chat?
No, I just want to. People really jumping in the chat. They talking. They buzzing in there right now.
Thing.
So, Evan is talking about, putting an emphasis on roles, which is something else Carla brought up. Very important because some people pick a role that they may not want down the road. Stan said, I feel like what I say should hold some weight, not trying to control, but I feel like I should be able to say no, or you can't go out tonight. All right, Stan, putting it out there.
Damn, Stan.
Evan said the way Savon looking at that glass is too lusty.
My fault, bro. It's Saturday night.
No,
Bree know. She know. It's Saturday night.
Yo, Bree, I see a Douce bottle back there. You not low.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
Some people are saying that sex expedites feelings. They coming for you, Savon. Savon got that demon energy transfer.
Oh man, it's coming right through the screen.
Chemistry, when everything aligns, it's intoxicating, but the chemical balance will always change, always for better or worse. You got to communicate what it is before you lay down with everybody. And another thing, somebody said expectations and standards are different. And I wanted to go back to that because I agree. Like, I looked at the definition and it says expectations are a strong belief that something will happen or be the case in the future. So expectations, I feel like, are kind of in your head, as in, I'm believing that this is what will happen. And sometimes we can have such a strong belief and it's faith. It comes from a good place that we never communicate it. So when it doesn't happen, we're disappointed. Now, a standard is something that is like, I want you to know where I stand on this.
Exactly.
And I'm taking nothing more. Like, I'm taking nothing less. I'll take more, but not less. And my man knows that. Don't play with me because I'm here and this is what I expect from you.
Yeah.
These are my standards. And if anything less than this, there's the fucking door. So somebody said, okay, why is he scared of Carla? He is a little scared, the same way that I'm a little scared of him. I know where his standards lie and what he expects of me.
Right.
And
what he aligns with.
Vice versa. Yeah. So don't play with me.
That's some grown woman shit. Real quick before we wrap the conversation up, rapid fire. The first thing that comes to your mind, I want you to tell me, and I don't know if Bree feels comfortable starting, and if she doesn't, one of us will start. But when was the last time, and even if you're not in a relationship now, when was the last time you felt entitled to something in a relationship? I'll start.
It was probably recently. Go ahead.
No, Bree, you start. Nah, girl, you had it. Let's go.
Yeah, she ready to go.
It was probably recently. I mean, I think more so. I just feel. I think I feel so more entitled to like a man's like respect, or like how he speaks. Like you, like there's no way you're speaking to me any other way. I'm not taking that. I don't usually feel entitled to like materialish things. I think that's kind of like as far as expectations, you're just setting yourself up for failure, and I don't choose to do that. I don't think that's a good idea. But probably more recently, and I think me and my guy friend get into it a lot about that because there's certain things that I feel like I am entitled to as far as how he treats me and how he speaks to me and stuff like that. And
what was the specific situation? If you don't mind, is there a situation you can think of? If not, it's cool. I don't want to get you in too much trouble.
Come back to me.
Okay. I'll start. I'll kick it off and then we'll just go real quick. So I remember there was a time that I was involved in, the person that I was speaking with.
Should we dim the lights, Savon? Damn.
Right.
We can do that. Watch this. What y'all want to do? The light is off.
Damn. Get the party lights at. Can I get a blue light going real quick?
But the last time I felt entitled, I was with somebody and they wanted to get, they wanted to better their health. And I didn't see it from that standpoint. She got a personal trainer.
They be fucking the girls.
This nigga was ripped, bro.
Call it chill. Call it chill.
He was ripped. Chill, girl. He was fucking like chiseled, tattooed. We were like the same skin complexion, so I thought he was my brolic cousin. I'm like, oh my God. What So the last time I felt entitled, I was like, yo, you can't see him. Go get a female instructor. Like that was the last time I had that feeling of entitlement. A long time ago, but I remember it very vividly.
Thanks for sharing that,
Alex, Steph, what y'all got? Carla, anybody? Real quick.
I can't remember.
Yeah, maybe because I don't think I've ever felt that way in a relationship.
I've been entitled to time. I've been entitled to time.
Time?
Yeah.
Time? Yeah. I see you.
Mm-hmm. I think
like specific
quality
like,
time is one of my love languages, and so it would be like, listen, like you need to see me a couple times a week. Like if you're working, like I don't care. I can just be in your space. Like I won't bother you.
Man,
and,
I've been there.
That's why I say like do not get into a relationship out of need, out of necessity. Don't do it. Don't do it. So yeah, time. I felt like I was entitled to time.
Carla, you be
literally,
on a lot
I
of
couldn't
boats.
think of anything. You
be on a lot of boats. You do a lot of like. If not, it's cool. It's cool.
So I literally just text him. Like somebody just messaged me, like, "What's wrong, sis?" Because I had my head down. I was texting him saying, "What's the last time I felt entitled to?" And it's so hard to say because in this relationship, he lets me have whatever I want. It's like he's a pleaser. So as long as I'm happy, like, so I'm very demanding. I'm like, I want this and this and that. He's like, everything's my way. I want to have my way with things. But when you're getting your way, kind of sort of say, so for you men that are listening, when you kind of give us like our way and you please us, we in turn try to do everything to please you. So we're very receptive to how you guys
writing
are.
Notes.
Take notes because my last no, please do. And I'll tell you how this ties into my last relationship of 6 years. For 6 years, we went to therapy and everything. And he was just like, oh, I'll give her whatever she gives me. She expects me to, give her or lead her, but she doesn't want to listen to me or blah, blah. And I'm like, listen, if you can't lead me nowhere, if you don't treat me like a queen, how do you expect me to treat you like a king? And sometimes goes with gender roles. And I know a lot of people don't agree with this, but to me, it's like, as a man, you are the head of the household. And that does not mean that you tell me what to do. That just means like you're the head, I'm your neck. You can't go nowhere without me. You can't move without me. So I feel entitled to communication, time, whatever I want, but then whatever you want in turn, I'm happy. I'm going to make you happy. So happy wife, happy life is real.
But do you believe you don't believe in happy spouse? Happy spouse, happy life?
You make me happy first, and then in turn, you're going to be the happiest man ever.
And I agree with Carla.
Hold on, Savon. I was saying, because I didn't originally have like anything for entitlement. Not because I'm like sitting here like, oh man, I don't have any emotions with people. Like, no, it's that when I'm in a relationship, like I expect for you to be your true self all the time. Like, I don't want to dictate it. I don't want to, you know what I'm saying? So I literally don't even remember when I've been like, no, I want you to wear this. I want you to, I literally don't know. Cause I literally just want you to be yourself because that's why I like you. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like that's all. Yeah.
So you're a pleaser. You allow her to be himself. So
Yeah, so I'm like,
and in turn, she's gonna want you to be yourself because you're allowing her to be herself. So both of y'all is happy. Now, I don't know if you got cheated on before,
exactly,
but then they'll be like, oh, she fucked up, so we let it go.
Been cheated on.
But sometimes we're human.
That was Carla's way of asking, have you been cheated on? Like
without
I gave it up. YouTube thing.
Yeah,
I see you. I see you.
Yeah.
But nah, Bree, Carla, thank y'all for pulling up. Thank y'all for joining. Thank y'all for being open and honest and vulnerable. For real. Carla,
thank you.
I don't know if you. No, for sure. Real quick before you leave, Carla, I want to have an episode with you and Devon at some point, and we could just go. You know what I'm saying? So, we'll be in talks with you and Steph. However, we'll make it happen. But I would like to have you on, sooner rather than later.
You know I'm always here. This whole quarantine virtual thing has been my life. Yes. All right. Thank you.
For sure.
Amazing.
Shout out your podcast really quick.
Thanks, Carla. Thanks, Bree.
Shit, I'm 30 podcasts on all platforms. And if you're looking to start a podcast, for sure, Idea to Launch Academy. I live, eat, breathe, breakfast, shit, podcasting.
Like, look at her setup.
Amazing.
I don't know what happened there.
Right. Are we still here?
I don't know what just happened.
Are we frozen?
I don't know. Carla, keep shouting out your podcast. Uh-oh. No, I think we're good.
Oh well. Carla.
No, we're good.
Yeah. Where'd Savon go?
Yeah, he went to go find a girl. He took notes and went to Tinder.
Go find a girl. Oh my God. Right, he's about to go listen to an episode of your podcast.
All right, well, I'll see you guys soon for sure. We have to
get you
collab. I would love to go, and then I'm going to have you guys on mine as well. Of course, I'm going to get you guys on mine as well.
Gotcha.
Back.
All right, definitely.
No.
Set that
Oh,
up.
there he is. Okay,
Looking
bye.
forward,
I'll let you guys finish.
Even though I'm not dirty, it's cool.
I didn't leave anywhere.
All right, bye, y'all. Oh, you're wiping your tears.
What's
You're like,
happening?
God, I miss the relationship. Bye.
It's I don't know. It's kind of back, but thank you. Alex and Steph, are we here? This is like
shit. Allergies?
Pixelated. I don't know if we've been on this shit for too long.
Here? Can you guys see me? Are we good?
I can see y'all. Yeah, I can see y'all.
It's kind of giving out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Y'all look good.
Okay.
The Wi-Fi.
Everything looks fine.
All right, we're good.
Okay, cool.
Alex is a little frozen.
Well, thank you, Carla. Thank you, Bree. Thank you, Devon. We do have one more topic that we want to discuss. Again, we wanted to keep it light in the front end. We acknowledge and we understand the climate of society right now across the board, in pretty much every major city in the country. I have lost sleep over it. Steph and Alex, I've texted you guys personally like, yo, what do I do? How should I feel? Are you guys feeling this way? And I think it's a really heavy topic, and we reached out to people who are on the front lines. Steph, Alex, y'all really keep me grounded with things like this, because I tend to, and I'll be completely honest, right? I tend to, once I reach my threshold of something, I turn the other way. You know?
That's right.
And not that I don't care, not that I just personally only have so much. It's like a cup. You can fill a cup up, and once it's full, that's all I have. That's all I can give. So recently with the events, I've felt like that. And I wanted to get people who's on the front lines, people who are a lot probably stronger than I am, people who are willing to go and say, hey, I need to make a statement in person. You know, we all move differently, but we do have a few people who have been on the front lines during these protests. George Floyd, killed on camera by a cop, white cop who has a history of racism.
18 open complaints.
What it is.
18 complaints.
18 open complaints.
Dating back to a lot of 2003.
Yep.
Minorities, shooting people, even killing people in the past.
Yep.
Maybe not as blatant and on camera, but it's been documented. So yeah, we have two people who we want to have join the conversation on some of these riots, their thoughts, and if Shavina can allow them in. One of them we're all familiar with behind the scenes, Gene. That's our guy, camera guy.
Shout out to Gene.
Super jealous of him because he has the most amazing hair in the world.
And
we also have Asia in the building. Asia, how you doing?
Hey, Asia.
I'm good, and you guys? Hi.
Doing okay.
I want to say thank you guys for sticking around for so long, because I know, you know, we set a certain time and we had a conversation. So thank you guys for sticking around and wanting to give your thoughts and your perspective on these topics.
For sure.
Can you hear me? So yeah, let's start with what Gene, I am familiar with you, my guy. You've worked with the three of us at some point. Gene is also a photographer. He does amazing work. He's worked with us. He's been on tour with the Joe Budden podcast. And that's how we met. So super talented guy. He also has his own clothing brand. And he's just an amazing energy. Now,
which we see displayed on his t-shirt right now, human.
Yes.
Appreciate
human, yes. Where are you guys from? The city that you're in, and let's start with that. Where are you guys from? So, Asia, where are you from?
I'm from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I live in the heart of the city. I mean, I don't know.
What do you do?
Oh, I work for an online bill pay company. It's very boring, but yeah, yeah. So
I like it. Okay.
Have
you been in the streets, Asia?
Sadly, yeah. I mean, it was. I wasn't gonna go because they started the protest yesterday at 1. But then by the time I got off work, they were still out there. So me and my roommate actually decided to go out, and it was literally something out of a movie.
What did you see?
So it did start out really peaceful. So they everyone was pretty much in their cars. There was a group of people walking at the front. And it was just, everybody was honking their horns. And then we got to it's a pretty bad side of town. And they got in front of the police station. The traffic completely stopped. No cars were moving, and then I guess people were kind of just protesting in front of the police station, and it went literally from bad to worse. So we were all arm to arm. We gave the police enough distance from the protesters. Nobody was in their face. Nobody threw anything. It was really peaceful. People were just voicing their opinions. And we did that for about 15, 20 minutes, and they called for more backup. The police called for more backup, and after that, they started throwing tear gas, shooting people with rubber bullets. Thankfully, my roommate, she was still in the car. So she called me, and I turned my back. And as soon as I turned my back, that's when they started throwing the tear gas. So I wasn't at the front anymore when they threw it, but it still kind of affected me. But it was really peaceful until the police started.
How did that feel like, Asia? I've never had like tear gas thrown at me.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so I had on a long sweater, and I had a mask over, and I had my hood on. So my skin wasn't exposed, but it did burn my eyes, and breathing it in, it wasn't fun
and
at
these
all.
and these protests at the time were still, you said they were peaceful. Nobody has started like wilding yet. So it's like you guys are linking arms, nothing's going on, and they just decide that they're going to throw tear gas and start shooting out with rubber bullets.
Yeah, I think they did it to push the protesters back, but I'm pretty sure if they would have said, guys, y'all got to move back, we would have did it. Like there was 6 or more feet from the protesters and the police officers. But the whole scene was just really scary because it's like, you'll never think that in 2020 you'll have to deal with that, or you're walking down the street protesting or whatever, and you see officers on a roof of a police station ready to shoot. Like it was literally something out of a movie.
So really quick, I want to ask you a question. Do you feel like that the response was warranted? Do you feel like the way that law enforcement responded to the situation with the tear gas, I'm sure with the aggressive behavior from what you're describing, do you feel like that was warranted?
I mean, it's really hard to say because everything had been going on for a while, and I'm pretty sure that they were just, tired of dealing with it, just like we are. But it's really hard to say. I can't say that after they released the tear gas, it went from bad to worse. They ended up looting Walgreens. It was bad. Then they pretty much drove around the city, and they attempted to loot different businesses. Some of the businesses, okay, so like the businesses in the white part of town, they couldn't really get into those, but like the local businesses, they completely looted. They broke into like shoe stores, black owned clothing stores. It really set something off, cool. And it wasn't good at all.
Yeah. I think something
Gene.
that you said just kind of stuck out to me. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to just respond to you real quick, Asia. I think something that you said stuck out to me because it's kind of like, obviously we understand everybody's like energy right now. We understand how hurt the city is, but it's also like we're now like hurting our own city.
Yeah.
In response, and it's like we forget who the enemy and what the enemy is. You know,
Steph, I got an argument for you real quick. What about if they're robbing the same people that did the European brands that did blackface, like the Gucci's and the Pradas? How do you feel about that?
I mean, here's the thing. Like, I do have thoughts about that, but Asia was like, you know, they were also looting Black-owned businesses. So that hurts the neighborhood.
Yeah, no.
What I'm saying? It's like,
that's completely bad.
Local
that's completely
stores.
bad. That's completely bad.
I mean, here's the thing. Like, once you get to like, it's like protesting, like looting. I don't see looting as a form of protesting. I just see it as something that happens because the city is at unrest. You know what I mean? Like, looting a store is not going to bring Floyd back. Looting a store is not going to get the police to stop treating us bad. Looting a store is not part of our fight. It's not. Hear me. I'm not going to say I don't understand the anger. I do. I know where it's coming from, but it's not a part of the fight. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
No, I definitely understand.
I
definitely hear you, and I think we can go more in depth when it's just the three of us kind of kicking it. But I do want to talk to Gene, because we've seen a lot of the ways that we've kind of got the message, and like for me personally, that I've digest like just the severity of everything are the photos. People are capturing the moments, the fire, the looting, just the passion and the energy, you know what I'm saying? Like, when you think about when you were in school and these textbooks had photos, and you see these photos throughout your entire life, which are real, but in your mind, you make it up to be like, oh my God, this is just what it was. But now that we're living in a certain time, like, this is what it is. These photos are very powerful. Gene, I know you keep a camera on you. Every time I see you, you got a camera on you. When Joe met you, I asked him, like, how did you meet this kid? He said, yo, I went to a festival, the nigga had a camera on him. So you're always capturing a moment. Like, that's what you do. Talk to me about your viewpoint on these protests. Are you out there without a camera? Are you there with your camera to capture these moments? Like, speak to it from your view.
Well, I appreciate I want to say I appreciate you guys for even having me, you know, on your platform. And, you know, it's always,
of course,
you know, it's dope to, especially now since, you know, everything is loaded up with being able to link up and stuff. It's dope to see out there and you know, talk about some real shit. But yeah, so I started protesting years ago. I mean, I was involved in the Black Lives Matter movement for some years. Like, I was out there for like Trayvon, Mike Brown, Sandra Bland, like, just all of the names. There's so many names, right? Crazy, like, I can't even remember anybody. Yeah, it is for sure. But yeah, currently I'm not protesting. I don't plan to, and that's for a lot of different reasons. A lot of my perspectives have changed, and not that, like, my politics are the same, but I've channeled that energy into different strategies that I find to be more productive for me. I'm not saying protesting is not productive, but I've done it so much, and it can be exhausting, and it's also dangerous. And you know, when you really learn, like, how this operates and how, like, police operate, it's not a fair game. I think because the purpose of protesting is to raise awareness, right? Like, it's to make people know what's happening. And, you know, where, especially with social media, like, that awareness is heightened because of the pictures, because of the videos, because of, like, the coverage. But then there's a lot that comes with it, and not just, you know, like, the danger of protesting. It's not cops, you know, with the tear gas and the rubber bullets and stuff like that. But also, like, people are, even with looting, a lot of the looting that's happening is started by undercover cops. And I've had that experience. I've been in protests where undercover cops have, and people who weren't even, like, involved in the movement were showing up and just trying to, like, ignite a riot and trying to give cops a reason to shoot. So that's, like, another factor to consider. And even with, like, these cities where Black businesses are being destroyed, like, a lot of these businesses are not being destroyed by actual protesters. Like, these are folks who came to infiltrate what's been happening. And when you study, like, the history of this country and just how, even groups like the Black Panthers, how they were infiltrated and destroyed, and how a lot of revolutionaries were destroyed. It's not surprising. And I've had similar experiences. I mean, and that's another thing too. Like you mentioned, I carry a camera a lot, and for a few protests, I protested in Massachusetts, New York, and New Jersey, and I've documented that. But I've come to realize, especially like looking at how the frontliners in the Ferguson protests, a lot of them have been killed, like mysteriously. Since that happened, a lot of those people went viral. Like even as a photographer and as someone working for the media, like you have a responsibility. Like it's one thing to get the coverage, and I know people want to show what's happening, but you also got to be careful because when you're out there, they're at risk. No one's protecting them, and again, like
you're breaking up. I'm sorry to cut you off, Gene. Really quick. Alex and Steph, is it breaking up on your end too?
Yeah, it's breaking up.
It's a little bit is breaking up. I don't know if you can get a slight better connection, but a little bit is definitely breaking up, and I definitely feel like what you're saying.
Let me read some stuff in the. Can you hear us, Gene?
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, I was just saying that like even photographers and people who are documenting, they have a responsibility to be careful with like showing faces of protesters, because protesters throughout history have been targeted by, by law enforcement and by even vigilantes.
I didn't even know that. Wow.
I mentioned, I don't know if that part cut out when I was talking, but a lot of the Ferguson protesters and frontliners have been killed since. And these were a lot of people who went viral. So, you got to be careful with all that. And I think, I don't think the right or wrong way to,
shit is sad.
To combat what's happening. I think like everyone kind of has their lane. So like, again, for me, my lane was protesting. I did that for some years. And, now I'm in a different space where I'm an educator and I'm in school to become a therapist. So like, I resolved to help my people and my community in those lanes. So like, I'm not, I'm not frontlining anything, especially like in New Jersey. Like, it's one, cops in New Jersey and New York are known for being corrupt. And two, as a protester, you're really, you're putting yourself at risk because you can't, it's not like the South where you can carry weapons out, right? Like if I bring my gun to protest, I'm getting arrested. So like, I can't leave the house with that, right? So like, you have to be mindful about how you're moving and just be like more strategic about, your means to an end. But again, I don't think there's a right or wrong way to do it. I mean, I salute everyone who's out there now, but I think, again, with protests, it's about raising awareness and, it's like a cathartic moment. I know a lot of people are feeling a lot of things, but also like strategize on how you can turn those feelings and emotions into like long-term results that can really benefit us. Because you can't convince people to, especially folks who like want to protect their privilege and want to keep things the way they are. Like you can't convince or beg folks to support Black people. Like I don't even think it's
for sure.
It's really just black and white. Like I don't even think racism is that complicated to understand. Like I think
no pun intended.
For sure, like we can only have so many conversations, and I think it's more productive for us to like focus inward and just focus on like our communities and really build each other up and protect each other.
For sure. I think well, first off, I want to say thank you both for just coming on here and speaking, because I haven't had the opportunity to be even in a setting like that or see it. I don't know anybody personally at the moment. So thank you guys for like just shedding the light on us and on our audience, because it's definitely important. Like, and even on our next episode, this is something like the conversation doesn't just stop here. Like the action, the thoughts, the feelings, it doesn't just stop here. We really wanted to talk to the two of you because we know you guys know what it's like to be in the thick of it. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a little bit different when you're on the outside looking in, but on some level or at some point, you guys have been there. So I just want to thank you guys for pulling up, for talking to us. you know, Asia, thank you. I see you repping. You got a whole different raw shirt. Like you really fuck with Devon. I'm gonna text him. I'm gonna let him know just for you. I'm gonna let him know.
He in
I'm
here.
pretty sure he knows.
He in here.
Yeah, he in.
He knows.
He knows.
That's love. That's
Yeah.
super love. And Gene, bro, it's always good to see you. Whenever I see you, bro, it's always love, and you know, like it's been a pleasure to work alongside you and to kind of get to know you based off, you know, our social media posts and activity, and even in person. You know, like it's always a really good energy. It's always a good vibe.
Always.
Again,
great conversation.
Alex,
and continuing the fight the way that you do, Gene, and being a therapist for sure. Because I think
as an educator, right?
Yeah, we definitely are going to need that follow-up help, everyday help, you know, to deal with what's going on in America with us. So salute to you, boss.
And for being a black man while doing this shit, bro. Like, it's not fucking easy. We got everything against us. We got the cards stacked against us, you know? Like, we're not supposed to be educated. We're not supposed to be able to evolve. Like you said, when you first started this mission, you were on the front lines. And then you said, you know what? I'm going to take it a different approach. You know, like, that's not the stigma around us. So thank you for being able to say, like, yo, I'm going to pivot. I'm still, I got the same views. I got the same feelings. I got the same messaging. But maybe it didn't work out the way that I wanted it to work out. So I'm going to try a different route. Like, salute to you for that. And you know, I see your page, you know, like you all about black love and black empowerment. So shout out to you, bro, for real.
For sure. Thank you. Another thing too, I'm actually, so I didn't get my license yet. I still got some time in school, but I'm certified for cognitive therapy. Well, trauma-focused cognitive therapy. And I'm having free sessions for folks who want to book while we're like doing this whole lockdown thing. So if y'all want to book, y'all can find the link on my page. Or actually I can just drop it in the chat. I'll just drop it in the chat. And
your merch too, because the people want to know.
Make sure we get it.
Yeah.
Good merch. Very good merch he has, yeah. And Asia, please drop your social media also.
Make sure we get
it. Okay.
For sure. It's the same way it's spelled in there, but yeah, I'll drop it.
Dope.
But thank y'all.
You guys.
Please do. Thank you guys for pulling up, and we'll definitely follow up with you guys.
Yeah.
For sure.
All right.
Thank y'all once again.
Thanks, Asia. Thanks, G.
Love y'all.
It's
bye.
Again, I don't know.
There's some people in here today.
We've just been on for a really long time.
Later, Brody.
For sure.
Yeah, the internet is tired.
I feel like my shit might be behind.
The Wi-Fi is like,
Yeah, like the internet is like telling us, yo, y'all motherfuckers been spitting. So y'all good?
Hey, yo, chill out.
You good on this episode of Quarantine and Chill?
Yeah,
I mean, for the most part.
We good on Quarantine and Chill?
Yeah. I will say that we always get like good people.
Good on Quarantine and Chill.
Can you hear me?
Always.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's frozen.
Yeah, we're a little like
love y'all, Shavina.
Yeah.
It looks like it's frozen on my end. I don't even know. All right, so let's send. All right, greetings. I don't even know. Let's send this over.
Look, we'll make it work. We'll make it work. I don't know if you guys can hear me.
I don't know. Savon is like frozen.
But can y'all hear me?
I can hear you now. I can hear you now. I can hear you.
Yes,
I can hear you.
Yes.
Okay. Shiv says she can hear us.
Shavina can also hear us.
We're all figuring this out. We're figuring this out together, guys. So please bear with us.
Our screens are just frozen.
Please. Yeah. If you're tuning in, bear with us. It's cool. Thank you guys for pulling up on this episode of the Quarantine and Chill with the Need to Know podcast. Carla, Devon, Bree, Asia, and Gene. Thank you guys for pulling up. Again, anybody who pulled up with us live, thank you. We wouldn't have done it without you. Alex and Steph. Again, this shit is frozen, so I don't know if y'all can hear me, but I love y'all to death, and we're gonna pick this thing back up.
I love y'all too. I love you guys.
Episode 101.
Make our way.
Same word.
Yes.
We're gonna
catch y'all in the Zoom chat. Let's let's chop it up amongst each other. Is what you need to know when you need to know on the Need to Know podcast. We'll catch you guys on the next episode or the next edition of the Quarantine